Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities may be available for today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Alright, we're going to start off here on the daily as always. EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. Alright, so what's the daily showing us? Well, we can see previous day on EU we've closed out as this sort of bullish high test, right? You can see we went above previous weekly high and this previous external high here, which caused price to pull back from that buy side liquidity, closing out as a high test. So a high test candle is obviously a possible sign of reversal, right? It could possibly be showing now after this bullish momentum, we've taken that buy side liquidity, it may slow down here. And as I said yesterday, we do have this imbalance on the daily. So this may be the buy side liquidity needed for some sort of pullback. So that's just from the daily picture, from taking a previous external highs buy side liquidity. On our inverse EU, it's less of a wick, but it closed out as a bullish candle after this bearish momentum here, and it also saved that low. So there is SMC divergence, but I believe I've drawn that out on the lower time frames. The same imbalance that's immediately above price from last week is also present, could provide a draw on price. Now into today's price action, if I just zoom out slightly, you can see the previous daily highs and lows, I believe on EU is still intact. It might be just above it or equal, so it hasn't swept that. But on DXY, we've gone well above the previous daily high for some buy side liquidity, and you can see that's made us pull back somewhat. Right, so we'll see that more clearly on the lower time frame, but we have pulled back somewhat after taking previous daily high. So bit of conflict in terms of this current morning's price action. Like I said, we may be bullish and bearish from this point, but on the intraday we have taken this previous daily high and that's caused us to withdraw or pull back to something. So we'll see exactly what that looks like on the lower time frame again. So let's see if this is the sign of any possible pullback and resistance. Let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that looks like. So now we're on the 4 hour. Just to take note, DXY, the 4 hour, when you have it open in this pane here, doesn't always move live. So this candle is still bullish, but we can see that EU is bullish, so that would be more bearish than that. We'll see that on the 1 hour most likely. Just go over the story again. We can see we took buy side liquidity from that external high. Now that gave us two high test sort of wick candles yesterday and bearish movement eventually, right? So buy side liquidity sweep is quite clear from above that previous weekly high. We didn't close above these previous highs at all. Okay, so we've pulled back, right? Though this morning now, even though this 4 hour isn't finished, we are quite bullish at the moment. We have a small imbalance here on the 4 hour, which I've drawn out. So price may see that as some sort of resistance. We'll see what price does if we pull back into this area. I just thought I would draw it out to keep an eye on it. So we've made this higher high here, but swept plenty of external buy side liquidity. So I want to see what price is doing from there. Right, we're definitely in a premium of our 4 hour leg. We have price imbalances down here. Right, this area all looks mitigated except for this imbalance I've drawn out here. So if price does begin to go south, to go lower towards a discount, these may be the POIs to keep a lookout for. And then inversely on DXY we have the same POIs there, which may be drawing price. You can see where we took that previous weekly low sell side liquidity yesterday, and we have our SMC divergence line here that I'll just show you from this low to this high low, where there is this high to this higher high. So there's not loads to discuss on a 4 hour. Like I said, we've clearly taken some sell side liquidity today and we are moving bullish for the time being with this long wick here, and we may be getting drawn towards this imbalance right above us. We have some imbalance below us here on DXY. We'll see if that's more relevant on the 1 hour where the candle is moving live. We have taken our previous daily high, of course, as buy side liquidity. So this is also contributing to the sponsorship of this bullish EU candle, right? Because we're pulling back bearish. So to wrap up the 4 hour, we're in a premium. We've taken external buy side liquidity, right, as a high test, as some sweeps here. And at the moment, price is just moving bullish, possibly back to this imbalance, which could provide resistance. We're waiting to see what price does to show us some more direction right, after taking all this buy side liquidity. So let's go down to the 1 hour and see what that looks like. So let's go through the 1 hour price action at this time, right? If we look at the structure, we could say we've got this high here, high low, high high, high low, high high type structure happening, right? Because we're very bullish in recent price action. Then if we go up to DXY, we've got this low, lower high, lower low, lower high, but then we've wicked below it. We're not closing below it as aggressively as we're doing with EU, right? So again, with that SMC divergence, possible signs of strength now, because if we look at this high here, we've got a higher high on DXY. Now if we look at the inverse of the low, we have a higher low on EU. So there's a lot of divergence happening here, like a break in the correlations, right? Because this would mean possible strength here on EU. Now that may be the strength we're displaying now after taking the sell side liquidity below this internal low, right? You can see that that has caused a lot of bullish momentum from there. We're heading up towards that 4 hour POI here, but there is a 1 hour POI much higher up in price. So EU is yet to break with a lower low on the 1 hour, right? Indicating more weakness there from these buy side liquidity highs. Like we can agree, we've taken plenty of buy side liquidity, internal buy side liquidity just there as well before breaking down bearish. We've come down to our order block POI area here, and we're currently holding but swept the sell side liquidity here. We could continue this trend. We've got this 4 hour POI here as possible resistance, and there's a 1 hour POI a lot higher up. Now of course DXY has switched on the 1 hour, you could say, because of this high here, this low here, then now a high high. But with the SMC divergence, it may just be a liquidity grab at this point, and this is all still rather corrective because it's overnight price action. We may just liquidate that and continue going bearish. So a bit more of a mixed picture here on the 1 hour. I hope I'm being clear and I hope that's understood. We may be waiting for more and a better picture. I do see clearly that a lot of buy side liquidity has been taken on a higher time frame. It would make sense for a pull to more of a discount, especially on maybe the 4 hour. But within the 1 hour, we have pulled back to this leg here, and we are being bullish at the moment. Now DXY has also pulled back to fill an imbalance here, right? The imbalance doesn't exist here, but we've pulled back. We're filling this imbalance. We'll see if that starts providing some sort of support. All of this looks mitigated, so if we do continue lower, we may just go for the lows here. Yeah, price action isn't like its clearest and its best at the moment, so we have to be really vigilant of what's happening here, especially with the 1 hour. Now just to reiterate, the structure is still bullish, so any shorts will still be against trend, though they do seem more likely now with all of the buy side liquidity, that external buy side liquidity that's been taken. We'll see what price is going to do around here, around these resistance points or this resistance point as a POI if we get there. We can still keep our eye out for any longs, right, that fit the plan. We have our SMC divergence here, sell side liquidity sweep here, right, which are with trend, pro trend, so we can still look out for longs from around these areas. However, it doesn't mean that they aren't without their risks, right, because of the possible switch in trend we may experience from taking these buy side liquidity highs. So I hope that's clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. So let's go down to the M15 and see what opportunities might be available for today. So here on the M15, what I do like for longs is that we are in, of course, a bullish trend, right? We've swept some internal sell side liquidity from the New York lows yesterday, and we have now, of course, kind of broken structure, right? We have this low here, high, low, and then we had bullish momentum kick in from below Asia from the sell side liquidity sweep and break of structure. We have our SMC divergence from this low to this high, indicating some sort of weakness and strength in the EU, weakness in DXY. DXY has also broken this sort of structure here now. In terms of lower time frame and some higher time frame confluences, the longs do exist here in terms of strategy from, say, this M15 order block. Now, my only problem with that is that we've possibly switched bearish, right? We've taken buy side liquidity and broken down. The order flow overall is probably still bearish. We have our 1 hour POI that may be a draw on price after all of this buy side liquidity has been taken externally as well. Okay, so that's a bit of a problem. If we pull down to this low, we've got previous daily low just below it. Obviously you can put a stop there, but it might be an area that price is looking to sweep for sell side liquidity there if we pull back to this zone. So I wouldn't call it necessarily low risk. Price is a bit funny at the moment. We haven't mitigated this 4 hour imbalance yet, so possibly we'll be drawn to that as a good thing. We haven't taken the other side of Asia yet either. So there's some pros and cons here, right? Higher time frame wise, like I said, loads of buy side liquidity. We're possibly ready to switch short from all of that. Possible early signs of trend change from this M15 breaker structure here, right, and that order flow. So yeah, I do think it's a bit tricky. It's for me personally how I'm reading price. So I am undecided pretty much on direction, but this opportunity here, of course, may look something like this when it pulls back, right? Corrective sort of pullback down to lower time frame order block with imbalance to continue bullish, right? With the trend after taking some sell side liquidity, breaker structure here, possible inducement from that corrective pullback, right? And then have our order here, stop loss just below the lows, probably just below the previous daily low there to trade long. Like we can see that working out, possible resistance at this point, but the 1 hour is still holding these lows. We are still in a bullish trend, so like I said, there is a bit of indecision there. I think personally what I will be waiting for is just more from price action. If price does come back down to this area and it wishes to go long, I'll probably just wait for that second break of structure around here and see if we get some sort of pullback to something around there to go higher. Obviously this may look like a rejection at that point from the 4 hour imbalance, so it'll also have its weaknesses, but I think I'm going to wait for more from price. The same goes for me with the shorts. We don't have to trade today at all, of course. I think I'll wait to see if the Asia high or something, the buy side liquidity from there, and we do break these lows, then I'll be more willing to trade short something like this, right, to go towards that 1 hour POI down here, which still exists, to go with this possible new order flow as well, right? So at the moment I can't see the shorts as clearly. This is quite bullish, we've closed quite bullish above this, so price would have to do some sort of buy side liquidity sweep or mitigate this 4 hour imbalance, break clearly below these lows, and then pull back to something or show more order flow. So that's how I'm reading it. I think it's best to be cautious with price, obviously, for me and for how I trade, and go from there really, because the 1 hour structure and the possible early trend change signs from all this buy side liquidity are throwing me off a little bit to go long with the trend. I may wait for this sort of POI down here. So I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.